Lake Lanier now supplies approximately 70% of Metro Atlanta's drinking water. The remaining 30% comes from Allatoona Lake and roughly 20 smaller reservoirs scattered across the region. There is no river running through downtown Atlanta to fall back on. There is no massive underground aquifer waiting beneath the city. Atlanta is built on granite, and granite does not give up water easily. Groundwater supplies less than 1% of the region's public water needs. What falls from the sky is almost all Atlanta has. And what falls from the sky has become increasingly unreliable. The numbers tell the story with brutal clarity. In the 1950s, Atlanta drew roughly 80 million gallons of water per day from the Chattahoochee River Basin. By 2015, that figure had climbed to 510 million gallons per day. The lake did not get bigger. The rain did not get more predictable. The demand simply kept rising, year after year, subdivision after subdivision, with no serious plan for what would happen when the two lines on the graph finally crossed. And they are going to cross. By 2050, Metro Atlanta is projected to add another 2.9 million people. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates that total water demand across Georgia could increase by 10 to 50% over the next half-century. At the same time, climate scientists project that available water will decrease as droughts intensify and temperatures rise. More people needing more water from a source that is delivering less. That is not a prediction. That is arithmetic. The emergency safety net is thinner than most people realize. In a serious shortage, Atlanta's backup reserves could serve the city for 3 to 5 days. The Bellwood Quarry Project, a repurposed rock quarry converted into a 2.4 billion-gallon emergency reservoir, extended that window significantly. But even Bellwood buys weeks, not months. It is a life jacket, not a lifeboat. Atlanta built a metropolis around a reservoir that was never designed to carry it. And every new resident, every new highway, every new neighborhood being carved out of the Georgia hills adds one more straw to the same bending back. The summer of 2007 began like any other in Georgia. Hot, humid, and dry in the way that southern summers always are. Nobody panicked in June. Nobody panicked in July. But by the time autumn arrived, and the rain still had not, the monitors at Buford Dam were showing numbers that made water managers go quiet in a way that frightened everyone around them. Lake Lanier was falling. Fast. By late 2007, the lake had dropped to 1,050.79 feet above sea level. Full pool sits at 1,071 feet. That is a difference of more than 20 feet. 20 feet of missing water, representing billions of gallons that Atlanta needed and the sky refused to provide. The lake bottom that had been hidden since the 1950s was coming back into the light. The highway, the foundations, the racetrack, all of it surfacing like evidence of something the city had tried to forget. State officials ran the numbers and arrived at a conclusion they could barely bring themselves to say out loud. At the rate Atlanta was consuming water, Lake Lanier was somewhere between 90 and 121 days from complete depletion. If the lake ran dry, Atlanta would be left with approximately 3 days of emergency supply. 3 days for a city of millions, with no backup, no pipeline from another state, no miracle reservoir waiting in reserve. Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue did what felt, in that moment, like the only option left. He stood on the steps of the state capitol and prayed for rain. It was not a political stunt. It was a genuine act of desperation from a man who had run out of engineering solutions and was staring down a catastrophe that modern America was not supposed to experience. A major city in the world's wealthiest nation genuinely at risk of running out of water before Christmas. The response was immediate and severe. The Army Corps of Engineers cut the flow from Buford Dam from 750 cubic feet per second to 650. Outdoor watering was banned across the entire northern half of Georgia for more than a year.